Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Keeping It Real. I'm Reverend Laura, and this is our midweek break where we take a look at the principles that we're talking about and see if we can bring them into practical and real application in our lives. See if we can find a way to actually use the stuff that we're talking about here. So this month, the month of May, I'm talking about peace and how we can bring peace into our lives through the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is it's a meditative type of practice. Not all meditation is mindfulness, and not all mindfulness is meditation, but meditation and mindfulness go hand in hand. But mindfulness is about keeping your awareness on the present moment in a way that you don't react to what's happening. So there's a big element of non-judgment, equanimity in the practice of mindfulness. We are fully aware, fully present with what is happening, but we're not reacting to it. And generally, we're talking about what's happening with our minds or maybe in our bodies, possibly even in the room around us. We can bring mindfulness to our lives in lots of different ways. We can do it when we're sitting quietly in meditation. We can do it when we're eating. We can do it when we're walking. We can do it when we're working. There are just lots of different ways that we can bring mindfulness in. But for me, the thing about mindfulness is it's a way to get to a deeper sense of peace in our lives. And one of the things that I've found that disturbs peace for most people, definitely for me, but for most people, is when we are in pain, when we are feeling some kind of physical discomfort. There's not a lot of peace going on. When we're focused on the feelings that are happening in our bodies, then it's often difficult to get to that place of feeling any kind of peace at all. It's just we just want that pain to stop. And so there's a big component of mindfulness, using mindfulness practices to reduce pain, to alleviate physical discomfort in our lives. And we can do that by entering into that state of mindful awareness where we are generally focusing on our breath or focusing on a sound, or sometimes it's focusing on a mantra, but we are fully present, trying to keep our awareness on that. And of course, while we're doing that, then our mind is also chattering. As I talked about last week, we have this monkey mind that wants to chatter all the time. And so it's like every time we recognize that the mind is chattering, we bring our awareness back to our breath. We just simply say, oh, look at that. There it is. I'm chattering again. Back to this. No judgment, no trying to fix it or stop it. Just notice it, become aware of it. Maybe even aware of what it is what that vein of thought is, and then bring it right back to your breath each time. Well, we can do the same thing with pain. When we feel any kind of pain or discomfort in our bodies, we can acknowledge the pain. Don't try to force it away. That's the one thing that we don't want to do. Because when we're forcing something away, we are reacting to it in a negative way that actually makes it increase. There's a saying in our philosophy, that which we resist, persist. So, we try to push it away. Oftentimes it just becomes louder and louder and louder. I don't know if you've ever had a pain that you've tried to ignore and it just grew in its intensity within you. But we can do this through our mindful breathing and through a process we call body scan, where we are actually just kind of, I usually start at the top of my head. It doesn't really matter where you start, but start at the top of my head as I'm in meditation, and just notice what's happening in each part of my body as I move down. So I will start with my head and just with my eyes closed, just what's happening there. Just be aware of it. All the time, I'm also focused on my breathing. It's like, okay, keeping my awareness back on my breath, back on my breath, back on my breath. And then I scan down my body. And if I notice any place that's tense, I usually get a lot of tension in my shoulders. And I just breathe into that spot and just allow it to relax a little deeper than it was before. Again, I'm not trying to push it away. I'm just trying to be with it. And I just keep moving through my body, down my arms, down my torso, down into my legs and feet and so forth. Just noticing any kind of discomfort, anything that draws my attention to it. Anything that's saying, hey, look at me here. And I just give it a little bit of awareness, acknowledge it, breathe into it, and allow it to soften. Again, it's not so much about pushing it away, but it's about being with it in a way that you can do so without catastrophizing it, without thinking, oh, how bad is this going to get? Am I going to really wind up in a lot of pain here? Sometimes we notice that pain also has a rhythm to it, and so you can begin to, the pain ebbs and flows. The intensity of the pain will ebb and flow, and you can actually begin to breathe with that pain as it's moving in and out. Allow your breath to ebb and flow with that tension in your body, and that will also begin to soften it and allow it to get to a place where you are not in as much discomfort as you were before. There are lots of actual scientific studies that have been shown to prove that mindfulness reduces pain in so many different ways. It's used to help heal our bodies. It's used, of course, to help heal our minds and our stress levels. But it's really great for helping to reduce the pain in our bodies. So throughout this week sometime, if you're feeling any kind of a pain in your body, instead of trying to figure it all out and worry about how bad it's going to get, breathe with it. Allow it to soften. Bring it into your awareness and just acknowledge it. Don't judge it. Don't try to fix it. Don't try to correct it. Just breathe into it and allow it to be. And watch what happens. I'd love to hear from you if you are interested in sharing your experience of breathing with your pain. Just go ahead and send us a comment in the chat underneath the video, or you can send me an email. All of our information is on the website at CSLGLV.org. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week on Keeping It Real.
Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.